thru. I think that was a good introduction for Baba, Elder Jim, who I call the governor, because if he was the governor of the world, things would be so much different. Thank you for blessing us. And you know your schedule for tomorrow. Jim will be in town tomorrow. It's still, it's on you, brother. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt land, and tell old Pharaoh, let my people go. We should all be a Moses, or whatever word that might be a word of a mother that symbolizes let my people go. Now, within the African American tradition, we've called Harriet Tubman the Moses of her people. So we already have those traditions. But you know, Harriet went back and forth about 30 times and never got caught. I thought about why and how. Yeah, we know she carried a gun and didn't take no stuff. But here's some thoughts as to why she could go back and forth. Because she had an intimate understanding, relationship with the natural world. Okay? She grew up understanding what could be eaten out in the forest as she's walking along the streams. She understood where the moss grew, how the streams flowed. But as importantly, she understood what we call the cosmos, how the stars were oriented, planets were oriented, to help her understand where north was. That's right. Okay? But today our work isn't just about freeing the human people. That's vitally important. Helping free the human people. But in some ways, we, as a species, have put other members of the family in bondage. So we're going to have to expand this sense of who the people are. As part of our work. It's the animal people. It's the plant people. It's the air people. It's the fire people. And it's the rock people. I was talking with some young folks maybe yesterday, I forget, about the rock people. No, this morning when I was leaving Omaha. And it was a young lady who was a PhD student in soil science. And I asked her about if she felt close to the rock people. And she said, well, you know, my mom is a geologist. I love rocks. I got a whole rock collection. I said, wow, that's some brilliant stuff, you know. Someone else might have said, well, you know, I'm a rock climber as I am. I love climbing rocks. I said, man, I can go home now. I ain't got to talk no more. And then I asked them, what makes blood red? And they said oxygen. No. One of the functions of blood. Go to the alveoli, do a transfer, pick up oxygen, carry every cell in the body, go through a Krebs cycle, kick in ADP, ATP, energy gets produced. I said, but what? So I asked them about what makes blood red. I finally got around to iron. Okay, iron. Carbon hydrogen chain, iron's in the middle. Right? I said, what is iron again? Oh, it's a mineral. Oh, it's a rock. Oh, okay. Then I was saying, you know, when I was growing up, I was kind of mischievous, okay? Always getting into things. My mom would say, Jimmy boy, you got a hard head. And I still do. And all of us here probably got hard heads. I would ask you then, as I asked this lady this morning, what makes our bones so hard? And she said, calcium. I said, you're right. But also 23 other trace minerals. But don't believe me, go to Google. Now, what do I know? A Kentucky country boy. But I'll get some other things here, but my point is, we're like walking rocks. We're like walking rocks. We eat rocks, we eat plants, we eat rocks secondhand. If we eat meat, we eat rocks third hand. So when I say rock people, I hope it has a kind of a meaning, because our work, again, is to free all the people who are all our relations. So anyway, I've been on since May 28th. It was called this Joy and Justice Journey in June. I have been to about, I'll be in 25 cities.
Must be a rock star.
About 12 slow food chapters. About 30 community gardens and farms. About 10 food cooperatives. I helped found a co-op 50 years ago. Wow. And this year we're celebrating our 50-year anniversary. I have a brochure here that's about our co-op celebration. I did a keynote talk at that. It's up on my YouTube channel.
All right.
But understand that a food cooperative is how humans mimic the earth and how she be operating. Okay? A great sign I saw over here, a monarch butterfly on the milkweed plant. But always green plants cooperate with the sun, right? And the air, and underground, all these fungi and worms and all this underground network. They work cooperatively. So our work is to get in resonance with how the earth already operates. We think we know everything. But we're like, in my view, metaphorically, we're like the monarch, and that we're, as a species, we're at about the caterpillar stage, eating up stuff, predatory, think we know everything. But we're in a period now of transition, paradigm shift. like in a cocoon.
What do you think that transition would be?
And those who are assembled here are within the caterpillar. There are cells called marginal cells. I call them organizer cells, visionary cells, Sekou cells, Sophie cells. All of us who are here, we're like marginal cells, trying to help this transition. I call it species maturation. What's all about that? We've been around as humans about 2 or 3 million years. We're probably the youngest species on the earth. Okay? That puts Frogtown Garden, Peace Garden, your farm, your whatever in a much bigger perspective. Our work is about helping the species mature. So, that's been my message this past month. I've used the theme decolonize, indigenize, and feminize throughout my talks. I spoke at University of California in Santa Cruz to some agroecology program interns with that theme. I said, well, each concept would take 2 weeks to fully explore. Not 1 hour as I was given. But they're all interwoven anyway. And they ask questions. One said, well, what do you mean, country boy from Kentucky, Embry, by feminize? I said, well, that's a tough one there. I don't know. I said, but now when I last checked, when you get old, like some folk, we get old and we forget stuff, okay? I forget more than I remember. So I could be wrong about this. So you young folks, y'all correct me. Sophie, correct me. But when I last checked, we all came through women.
That's true.
When I last checked, we all come through women. The word woman has the word woman and man. Female, female, and male. When it comes to the word man, it's just us. So we all need to be feminist, which means we all need to love, protect, honor, safeguard, do no harm to women. That's just a small piece of what's called feminized. I asked the folks there at the Santa Cruz, because we're all into local food, and healthy food. I said, well, what is the very best first local food? Some said, who said what?
Breast milk.
Exactly.
Breast milk.
Breast milk. But I would bet if I asked you all who were in school somewhere studying agriculture and food, or if you writing articles about food and food deserts and all the important things, no one talks about breast milk.
No.
Okay? Is it a food?
Yes.
Damn right. It's what has helped humans survive for 3 million years. Anyway, but on this journey, I'm wearing a whole variety of hats. One is the Slow Food USA, an international Terra Madre network. And I've got some bracelets here called Joy and Justice. I got a few more over here. You're welcome to them. But there's a particular significance here. I helped write the Slow Food, what's called EIJ, Equity, Inclusion, and Justice Manifesto about 4 years ago. And to kick off the campaign, we had some of our other slow food folk in Kenya. A women's cooperative, we commissioned them to make these bracelets as part of our campaign to help raise money, for send folks to term modulate. So these are all free. Just come over here, grab one if you want to. That's the story behind it. Joy and justice. Someone mentioned Juneteenth earlier. I want to just mention quickly that I had two great-grandfathers that were in the 114th Regiment of the U.S. Colored Troops out of Kentucky. I had three overall, one got killed. Two of them kicked Lee's ass in Virginia. Okay? Surrounded him, and they were there when Grant accepted Lee's surrender at Appomattox. They were right there. These two great-grandfathers. Then they were shipped to Texas to secure the border and kind of like defeat the remaining Confederate troops in Texas. They went there in May. Now, can you imagine 10,000 black troops marching in Galveston? The white folk was upset, angry as hell. But the black folk, talk about joy and justice, they were shouting hallelujah. We're free. They were falling down and says, thank you for coming here. So people ask me about how can you be so joyful all the time? I think about those situations. We should all be thinking about, wow. So my point is about Juneteenth. What we do, if you read about Juneteenth, you will read about, General Granger came into Galveston on June 19th. He read his drawer number 3 and proclaimed y'all free. Okay? I'm thinking, okay, fine. But we ought to lift up these 10,000 black troops, black men and women, by the way, that secured that whole area that allowed him to walk in safely. Add that to your Juneteenth story. But also Juneteenth is about reunification. I'm all for, and I do it every year, Jubilee, Emancipation Day, Freedom Day, good eating, absolutely. But it's also about reunifying the country. But we don't celebrate that. Why? Because it's too closely aligned with Juneteenth. And folks say, well, we can't talk about that as a holiday or a day to celebrate. But think about this. Suppose the war was won by the South. If it was the case, we wouldn't be here today.
That's right.
Okay? We wouldn't be here today. We might be like South Korea, North Korea, or how it was in East Germany, West Germany. But because 180,000 black men and women fought in the war and turned the tide of the war and reunified the country, we're here today. So I'm saying, yes, Juneteenth is about emancipation, Freedom Day, Jubilee Day. It's about reunifying the country. Juneteenth. Now, I'm also I'm wearing a hat of what's called Ujamaa seeds. You know about the word Ujamaa? Of course you do. Okay? We began about a year ago. We were birthed, so Ujamaa was birthed by the Southern Teen Exposure Exchange. I've been around about 60 years. A dear friend of Ira Wallace began it 60 years ago. They helped give birth to us. And our seeds are what we call culturally relevant seeds. Which means, in particular, people of color culture seeds, like of the African diaspora. Sister here was talking about some amaranth. You got it.
Wow.
I was in Denver the night. I met a sister from the Cameroon. You know, we love this plant called Jama Jama.
Yes. Yes.
So So now what I was doing was like messing with her. I said, you mean the bad Mama Jamma? She said, no. She didn't know that tune. We got over here, Jamma Jamma. As an example, we're part of the Heirloom Power Project. Identified 30 kinds of collards. Traditional kinds. We got kinds that grow in the northern area, southern, yellow leaf collards, ragged, like ruffled leaf collards, 30 varieties. And we're looking for other folk to join in with the Heirloom Collard Project. We also have a project called the Ultra Cross Okra Project. So you all invited to be a part of the Jamma Seed Cooperative. So if you have, I've got seeds. I brought with me 100 varieties of 5 each, 500 packages. I can bunch them away. But please, this evening, come over when the wind stops blowing, look at them, take some seeds home. They're free. We want you to know what we're doing. And what we're doing is saying climate change, environmental devastation, global food production. We couldn't find seeds the last 2 years in the spring. Everybody ought to be a part of growing plants for seed. Okay? Yes, grow things to eat, absolutely. But grow plants for seed where you develop here, Twin Cities region, seed banks. Where when I come here next year, you're going to say, man, you was talking some nonsense, but it kind of made sense in a way. So we now got, as part of our network, 50, 100 seeds that we distribute in our community because we think we can get chips for cars that we couldn't get this year. We're going to get chips always. Couldn't find baby formula. I could go on and on. So I'm just saying that part of our work is getting people of color, join the cooperative, grow seeds, then we will send you seeds if you want to be a part of it. I just grow them, then we'll buy them back from you for our catalog. Does that make sense? Okay?
Well, it is the reunification project.
You daggone right. There you go. So, again, seeds are here. Two other things I'm going to have you from Q&A. I was in L.A. Y'all might know Ron Finley.
Yes, sir.
You know, we call him the gangster gardener, you know. We hung out. We've been friends for a long time through slow food mostly. And he gave me, because it's always a blessing. Like I got, you know, from the brother here, this art piece, one of Carver's works that he's still carrying on. So Ron gave me a Christmas llama, okay, and some fava beans, because he got a bunch of seeds too. That was in Santa Fe, and I met a guy who was there at my talk, and he gave me this little vessel, and in there was some watermelon seeds that he gave me. Okay, they're called some kind of like a North Cross, and they're hybridized to grow where? In the Southwest, not in the South. So part of our work, we talked earlier about honoring, acknowledging land, business people, and we got to do some acknowledgement. We got to do a lot more things as well. We got to figure out how to create some rituals. And when we were working together with Growing Power, we would begin sacred fire. Maybe we might bring water from our area and begin around water ceremony, fire ceremony. So probably right in here we are now, before colonization, folk met right here in this area coming from north, south, west, bringing stuff, but bringing what? Bringing seeds. Okay? Bringing seeds. I'm kind of wrapping up here. So another hat I'm wearing is about this book here. It's called We Are Each Other's Harvest. Written by a dear friend named Natalie Bazille, who also wrote Queen Sugar, that opened Ava DuVernay on the rights to many of the TV series.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? That book, she spent 10 years writing it. And but when it was open, it went platinum. HarperCollins gave her a contract to do a new book. The thought was to be about black farmers in the South. It got expanded. It's about black, brown, indigenous farmers, especially women farmers. Okay? I have an essay in here that's called Ancestral Vibrations Guide Our Connections to the Land. It's about my family and that history of them knowing and being friends with the likes of Ida B. Wells, Mary Church Terrell, George Washington Carver, W.B. Du Bois, who all came to my small town in Kentucky. So, if you haven't seen the book, haven't bought it, I encourage you to get a copy of it, share it among your folks. But if the cover of it, I'm going to pass around, the cover is really important. Because on the cover, if you know about Soul Fire Farm and Leah's book, Farming While Black, you know that. So on the cover is Leah and Naima. Okay? We'll pass it around. That's what the cover is. And it's my judgment that this image, okay, of two black women ought to be the icon of this century. Okay? This image of Leah and Naima ought to be the icon of this century. And it's about us returning to the land. Doesn't mean you got to go back and have a farm, but everybody should grow something. Remember during World War II, women went into the industrial workplace? Rose of the Riveter was the icon. Okay? I'm saying now, in this century, we ought to have around the farm here this image on our publications. Doesn't just mean those black women. Okay? It means all women and all men. Okay? That we're finding ways to return to the land because this is what makes us. We're touching sacred medium. This is what becomes us. But again, don't believe me. I mean, I'm just an old country boy from Kentucky. What do I know about that? But check out all the spiritual sacred texts. Don't believe me. They all have it in there. In fact, somewhere in the Bible, I think it's in Mark, Luke, and John. No. I think it's Deuteronomy. I forget. One, it might be in Genesis. Might be in Genesis.
Might be.
It might be about 34th verse. And it says, God reached down, picked up clay, dirt, and blew the breath of life. Yeah. So, this is sacred medium. There's a documentary called Dirt the Movie. If you haven't seen it, have a network meeting and watch Dirt the Movie. It's incredible. It's animated. They got up in there Vandana Shiva, Wangai Maathai, and folks like her talking about dirt. And what do farmers do? They don't grow nothing. We don't grow nothing. We plant some things, Okay? We plant some things, but we don't grow nothing. The soil, the fungi, the microbes, the worms, the roly-poly bugs, the air, the sun, the moon grow the stuff. Okay? Now, last comment I'm going to have questions or whatever comments is about George Washington Carver. Okay? On my journey, just again, joy and justice and jazz journey in June, I stopped by Diamond, Missouri, which is the home birthplace of George Washington Carver.
Where is it again?
Diamond, Missouri.
Diamond, Missouri.
Okay? Where he was born. His dad died before he was born. His mom and he got kidnapped to sell somewhere in Kentucky. The guy that owned them sent people after Carver and his mom. They dropped Carver off. He was 2 weeks old. He was kind of weak. Dumped him to dumped him off, took his mom, and sort of who knows where. They were brought back. Carver was raised as a brother by Moses Carver and his wife. So Diamond is a national monument. He has 3 of them, by the way, Carver, federal monuments, museums in Tuskegee, dedicated to him. But there are a lot of people that we should lift up in our work. A lot of people. Okay, don't get me wrong, a lot of people. But if you ain't reading Carver, you're not fully understanding what the work is. Now, talk about seeds. Carver was a seed man. They called him the peanut wizard. He worked on peanuts, cowpeas, sweet potatoes, soybeans, and all kind of stuff.
Oh, beans.
Okay? He literally saved the South. His work was to replenish the black soil in the South and also to educate, prepare black souls in the South. The boll weevil hit. He said, hey, we can grow peanuts, soybeans, and whatever else. Again, read about George Washington Carver. He and Ford had a vision of what we're doing now, they were doing it in the 1890s. Okay? Now, is his work relevant today? Absolutely. And all the non-dairy stuff you see in the stores, you can go get coffee now with almond milk, oat milk, soybean milk, I don't know what kind of milk. He was doing that in the 1890s. Okay? Recycling, all up in there. Now, one of my talks, I do about 40 talks a year. I always weave Carver into it. Right now, NASA has a program with Tuskegee where they are using Carver's work around the sweet potato up in the Skylab. Okay? Where they're up there growing in the Skylab sweet potatoes. But not for the tuber, but for the leaf. Because the leaf, as all leaves are, is high in protein, other things as well. So they think his work is still relevant. I'm just saying, there ought to be some sign somewhere, or a mural. Okay? With the kids' work I saw today, that brings Carver into the conversation. Okay? So, I think that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening. Again, over here, I just want to say, we got all kind of seeds. Before we close tonight, come over and please take at least one or whatever, and share them. If you want to be a part of the Howard Project, please do. We also have like a watermelon thing we're doing probably next year. But love y'all very much. Thanks for coming out.
Thank you.
Michael started us in prayer. Monkway led us in song.
Church. Yeah, I'm good. We know, now, I'm standing up, not in disrespect, okay? That was driving almost 8 hours to get here. So to get my butt up out of a seat feels good, okay? I've been in almost, when I leave here, I'm going to Kansas City, and then St. Louis, then Louisville, and then back home, 25 cities. A lot of driving. It's all been beautiful. It's been incredible every day to meet folk. I've hung out in my family with 15 family members along the way. All kinds of people that I haven't met before have become people I love, like you all here. Okay, every day's been incredible. During the I was 10 years old. Okay, as part of CORE, a civil rights direct action organization. 10 years old. My mother was the president of CORE in Kentucky. I'm on picket lines, weighed-ins, being spit on, being cussed out at 10 years old. Been it for a long time. Okay? That's just part of the history. I've done a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. I helped organize a march in Kentucky in '64 that Dr. King and Jackie Robinson was at. I was 14 then. So I tell young folks, you know, I've been around since the dinosaurs. Okay? Old as hell. My brain is getting kind of fossilized. So I say to young people, take it while you can. Oh, something's up here. Write to me, come see me. I've had folks come to the farm from New Zealand. For the minority people. I met my brother from New Zealand about 3 years ago. He came back with his wife and kid. Spent 2 weeks with me. I had friends from Uganda, from China. When I say come see me, I ain't bullshitting around. Come see me.
Okay,
talk to me, whatever else. Okay? So anyway, any questions or any just reflections? Anything at all? There was some discussion about art a little while ago. All the things that I do pretty much include art. Okay? Includes art in all kind of ways. Whether it's any kind of art. Singing, dancing. We do all kind of things with Augusto Boal's work, A Theater of the Oppressed. The way to take expressions and create movement. We do murals. We do work from found objects. We do straw bale construction. We do, we do all kind of things. We do rap tunes. We do spoken word. We do all kind of things. Because art is where you can get inspiration. Brother mentioned earlier, Sekou mentioned about Carver did, knitting and all kinds of needlepoint. He had a painting in the World's Fair in 1893. Okay? As a matter of fact, his first love was art. And a woman who was a friend of his, but it's 1891. A black man earned a living in art. She said, I don't think so. So what you ought to do, my husband's over here at Iowa State. You ought to take your love of drawing, painting plants, and study agriculture. But he painted, I have over here, he painted, I drew in all his bulletins. I have one of his original bulletins.
Wow.
He did all the illustration in his bulletins. Einstein developed his theory while playing the piano. And then he went with a chalkboard and wrote the stuff out. So my point is, we're all like walking art right here. Perfect symmetry. The golden mean is all up in here. The ability to get off crawling and to walk is an art. To be able to walk, have language, to have sight. All art. Even before we make something with our hands.
Didn't get it. Try again. There we go.
Yeah. Look at the seeds. Okay. Bye.